Just because you had a few dark chapters doesn't mean your story cannot have a bright ending. What if the very thing that shattered you could become your greatest masterpiece? Stick with me until the end, because today we're not just rewriting your story, we're reshaping how you see it, the meaning you give it, and how you grow from it. Bonus, an ancient art form, Kintsugi, teaches us that what's broken isn't the end. It's the beginning of something even more beautiful. Hey there, and welcome back, my sweet friend. Today's Mindset Shift series is a reminder for anyone who feels like they're stuck reading a never-ending chapter of gloom and doom. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe the house is a mess. Maybe homeschooling isn't looking as Pinterest perfect as you imagined. And in those moments, it's easy to think, this is my life. This is how it's always going to be. But hear me out on this. Just because you had a few tough chapters doesn't mean that your book will not have a beautiful ending. A rough start does not mean the story cannot have a remarkable finish. And while struggles may shape the story, they don't control the ending. Just turn the page. Okay, let's take a closer look. Picture this. At 6 a.m., you finally got the baby to sleep after a night that felt like a never-ending battle. You tiptoe into the kitchen, desperate for coffee, and just as you take that first glorious sip, your toddler charges in, trips over a toy, and bam! Coffee all over your shirt. You want to cry. Maybe you do cry. Because honestly, this moment feels like a metaphor for everything going on right now. As if the life itself is spilling over, messy, chaotic, and completely out of control. The exhaustion, the overwhelm, the feeling that no matter what you do, nothing goes smoothly. And in that moment, it's easy to believe this is just how it is. But pause with me for a moment. This is just one messy chapter, one messy morning. It's not a whole book. Now, let's step out of the chaos of your kitchen and travel back with me to 15th century Japan. Picture a grand Japanese castle nestled atop the hill, its wooden halls adorned with intricate carvings and golden accents. Inside, a powerful Japanese shogun standing in his private chamber, a place of honor where only the most treasured possessions are kept. Before him sits his precious Chinese tea bowl, his most valued treasure. But one day, it shatters. He's devastated. So he sends it back to China for repair, expecting it to be restored to perfection. When it returned, it was held together with ugly metal staples. It was functional, yeah, but it was ruined in his eyes. Refusing to accept this, he sought out the greatest artisans in his kingdom. And what they created was a masterpiece. Instead of hiding the cracks, they filled them with liquid gold. They turned the broken lines into something beautiful. And this became the revered Japanese art form, Kintsugi, the art of being broken, which literally means to repair with gold. And it is still in use to this day. You see, no one is exempt from pain. You can't deny the cracks, the scars, the moments that break you. But when that happens, you have a choice. You can see yourself as shattered, or you can become the artisan of your own story. If you gather the broken pieces and mend them with gold, those very scars won't just heal. They'll become the most beautiful part of you. You see, the idea is simple. When something breaks, you don't disguise it. You honor it. You make it more valuable because of what it has been through. Now, let me ask you something. What if your life worked the same way? What if your struggles, the sleepless nights, the homeschooling doubts, the moments you thought would break you weren't meant to be hidden, but transformed? You see, psychologists call this narrative identity, the way we tell the story of our own lives. You see, two people can go through the same struggle, but the meaning they attach to it changes everything. Think about it. When you first fell in love, you say, babe, can you give me a foot massage? And he eagerly replies, of course, love, anything for you. 10 years later, a foot massage? What am I, a chiropractor? Or I'm sure we can relate to a trash analogy. Remember when you were newlyweds and you would ask, honey, can you take out the trash? Yes, right away, my love. Fast forward 10 years. What am I, a sanitation worker? You see, same request, different meaning. So what meaning are you attaching to your struggles? Are you seeing them as an ending or as the beginning of something greater? Are you seeing your hardest day as proof that you're failing or proof that you are learning? Your perspective will either break you or build you. How you see it will either trap you or transform you. I know this to be true because I've lived it, and not once. For example, the violence of my ex. Something that no matter how loving, kind, or generous he was, I could never forgive, was what ultimately pushed me to leave him. And that single decision led me to my husband and gave me two most incredible children. But at that time, it felt like the end. The worst thing that could have happened. But in reality, it was the beginning of something extraordinary, a blessing I couldn't yet see. Maybe you have a chapter like that. A moment that felt like your ending, but what if it was actually your beginning? You see, some of the best gifts in life come wrapped in the worst packaging. Pain, heartbreak, loss. At first, all you see is devastation. But over time, you realize it wasn't a loss at all. It was a clearing, making space for something better. If someone walks out of your life, maybe it's because the right person needs room to enter. If something falls apart, maybe it is because something stronger is waiting to be built. If a door closes, maybe it is because you were never meant to walk through it in the first place. The hardest moments, they're not your final destination. They're just the bridge leading you somewhere greater. The critical mistake I think we all make at some point or the other is that we tie our entire life story to a single chapter. We convince ourselves that one failure, one heartbreak, or one painful moment defines everything that follows. But what if that chapter was never meant to be your ending? What if it was simply setting the stage for something far greater? You see, life isn't about what happened to you. It's about the meaning you attach to it. That meaning shapes how you feel, the actions you take, and ultimately the results that you get. So when you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself one powerful question. What meaning will I give this? This question puts you in control because while you cannot always control what happens, you can always control how you interpret it. Because the way you see it will either lift you up or lock you in. How you frame it will determine if it fuels you or fools you. You see, struggles can shape you or control you. From struggles can either come strength or suffering. It's simple. What you choose to focus on shapes your outcome. So what would you choose? Would you see obstacles as limitations or as opportunities? Would you see failure as a loss or as a lesson that leads to something greater? And maybe, just maybe, what felt like the worst thing at that time was actually making space for something better. Remember, the hardest chapters may test you, but they will never define you. Pick up the pen, turn the page, and write the masterpiece you were meant for. Or think about your favorite book, like the actual book. There is always a point where the hero struggles, right? Maybe they fail, maybe they feel lost, maybe they're ready to give up. But what happens next? They keep on going, they push through, and that is what makes the story worth telling. Your life is no different. What if your toughest chapter is the setup for your greatest comeback? What if the moment that feels like the ending is actually the beginning of something incredible? Remember, a few bad chapters don't define the whole book. Turn the page, write a new chapter, and leave the story worth telling. because your story isn't over. It's just getting to the good part. And remember, you will always find what you're looking for. If you look for pain, you'll find it. If you look for struggle, it will feel never-ending. But if you train yourself to look for growth, resilience, and transformation, you will find that too. Because life isn't about what happened to you. It's about how you respond, how you interpret, and the perspective you choose to create. So next time you have a coffee spill moment, or worse, when the day feels impossible, when the tears come, when you feel like you're drowning, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is just one chapter. I'm still writing the next one. And who knows, maybe the next chapter is the best one yet. I never said it's easy, but I'm saying it is simple. Remember, you are the author of your story called life. Pick up the pen, turn the page, choose a meaning that empowers you. Keep writing the story you were meant to live, because your story isn't over. It is just getting to the good part. All right, my sweet friend, thank you for tuning in today. And if this episode spoke to your heart, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. It might be exactly what helps them turn the page. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next. Until next time, my friend, keep turning the page, keep writing, because your story isn't over yet.